was nominated by Mrs. Whited, his first grade teacher, so I'll read a few words that she wrote about him. I would like to nominate Noah Swafford as the November Student of the Month. Noah is kind, polite, and a hard-working student. I can always count on him to be doing the right choice, whether it be in the classroom, cafeteria, or playground. He is a role model for his peers, academically and socially. What really impresses me about Noah is his kind heart. He can be found on the playground playing with the child who has no playmate, or heard saying "good job" to a classmate during work time. Noah would be a great choice and a great representative for the Ridpath Student of the Month. He's a wonderful student, friend, and overall kid. So congratulations to Noah.
Yes, and we have our backdrop set up for photos after the presentation, and you're welcome to come back in after that, or we also know that it's a school night and children or students may need to get home. Next up, Mr. McHugh.
I'd like to introduce you to Maddie Lady. Maddie's a second grader in Mrs. Riggle's class, and Mrs. Riggle has nominated Maddie, saying, "I'm nominating Maddie Lady as Deer Meadows Student of the Month. Maddie has many characteristics that make her a perfect candidate for this award. One word that best describes her is dependable. Maddie consistently models the values of our school and our classroom. I know I can count on her to follow directions and practice active listening skills, which is something that we've been working on in our school. Maddie is a leader in the room because she models responsibility and she takes pride in her education. I think Maddie Lady is the perfect representative for this award." Maddie Lady.
Mrs. Rhodes?
So I am proud to introduce Colton Wade. Colton is a fourth grader in Miss Emily Dickey's class. And she wrote, "Colton has grown so much since the beginning of the year. He always puts a smile on everyone's face. He's finally starting to see how awesome he really is and how much he is capable of. And that's an incredible thing to witness. I'm very proud of his attitude, his accomplishments, and his actions. I think Colton fully embodies Student of the Month. He's going to do great things." Colton Wade.
Ella Tischer is our GMS Student of the Month. Her 8th grade teachers nominated her because Ella is a model student. She is respectful, kind, goal-oriented, and most importantly, determined. She's a hard worker and always willing to step in and help someone. Ella always goes the extra mile regardless of the task at hand. Ella is a diligent student who always does her best. She's kind and caring person and is a great class participant and leader. She is creative and willing to try new things as well as being positive, polite, and works hard. All of her teachers agree that she's a joy to have in class.
Don't stand so close, Boyd. This is Boyd Inslee, our Student of the Month character. Ed trait was citizenship. He's an upstanding member of the Greencastle High School community. He's involved in many activities in sports. I did not know this. He's an Eagle Scout to be in his local Boy Scout unit troop, number 99, where he has several leadership roles. He was already selected for this, but you are our DAR winner going to represent GHS, and then after that, he won the DAR Good Citizen Award, so congratulations to you. Has nothing to do with citizenship, but he scored 9 straight points Saturday night in 3 consecutive years would have been amazing. I feel like that's worthy. I would have loved to have done that. So congratulations, Boyd.
Okay, next item on the agenda is the approval of the consent agenda, which consists of meeting minutes from a board work session of November 7th and regular meeting minutes from November 28th. The allowance of claims, the financial report, and personnel reports, part 1 and 2, which are posted on the door and on the website. Mrs. Romer.
During the month of November, we had 2 regular payrolls. The first one was dated November 11th. Of course, that was our settlement payroll to teachers for back pay with the raises. Total payroll for that payroll was $779,525.16. And of course, with the payroll being a little bit higher, the retirement and the taxes are going to be higher as well. So we had a total of a total of $254,017.57 for the retirement and payroll taxes on the November 11th payroll. And then the second payroll was dated November 25th. Total payroll $509,795, and of course, along with that came the payroll taxes and retirement. The total for both of those for that November 25th payroll would be $146,614.33. And then we've got a list of prepays for the month of November. Did anyone have any questions about any of the prepays for November?
Nope.
No? Okay. All right. Total prepays for the month of November, if I can get to that page, is $317,684.54. And of course, we've got a list of claims dated today, December 12th. Did anyone have any questions about anything listed on the claims dated today, December 12th?
No?
No? Okay. All right. The total for the claims dated today, December 12th, is $278,030.78. And if you're ready, we'll go ahead and move on to the finance report. We've got the fund report at the end of November 30th, 2022. Education fund, $2,991,245.89. And then operations ending balance November 30th would be $715,507.08. Total for all funds, if you go to page number 5 of 6, for all funds is $7,570,312.35. And then, of course, we've got the bank to balance fund, which takes the place of our depository statement that we were receiving there for a while. We're getting much closer on those bank balances. They're still working on them. I'm very hopeful for January that we're going to have the right ones. But our total for all banks, you'll see there at the top, is $7,573,1235. That's great because that actually balances with our funds. So we've got total for all funds and grand total for all banks match, and that's exactly where we want to be. And then hopefully we'll be, those bank balances will be, right on for January. I'm hopeful for that. And then we've got a fund transfer report. Total fund transfers, $595,279.40. Of course, that's for the education ops, and then the school lunch prepaids to school lunch fund. And then, of course, as I explained last month, any bank transfers that we do in between banks have to be listed on this, and you have to sign off on those. I had a bank transfer from Bank 2 to Bank 10. That's why the bank transfer fund's a little bit higher this month. And then lastly, we've got the expenditures for bond 2021 and bond 2022. You see a list of expenditures for the month of November. Our total to date, November 5th, 2022, total to date expenditures $11,966,292.78. And then bond 2022, we did not have any expenditures for the month of November. And pending any questions, I'd like to submit for approval.
I was just, is the state getting any closer to releasing some of our funds, if I'm still reading this correctly?
You mean,
For the special ed and the Title IX, they're still negative.
oh, yes.
Oh, you're talking about for the
Yeah.
grants?
Yeah.
Yes, actually, we were notified last week, Title I was released.
Good.
Title IV, no, we're gonna be on track. And,
Okay.
I had already closed out the month of November, when we got those notifications that came in last week. So you're gonna kind of see those fund balances for those grants start to kind of even out a little bit.
Okay.
It was getting a little scary there in Title I.
They're getting a little, they get six figures, I start.
It really was, so,
We expect our property tax settlements, I think, this week. as
should
well.
be on Thursday, we should receive that. So you'll see that revenue in for the month of December, we'll go over that in January.
Good, thanks.
Yep, you're welcome.
I was just gonna ask with the bank balances, you said you're pretty confident for January.
Mhm.
Are the banks pretty confident for January?
No, we're actually, if you would look at my actual bank statements, my bank statements are matching everything
Right.
in CompuTrol. The problem is the CompuTrol banks.
Oh, okay.
During the migration.
Okay.
During the migration in October, basically it looks like, well, 2 of the 4 banks, are balanced, but the other 2, it looks as though during the migration that maybe some of the expenditures that should have been Bank 2 were coming out of Bank 10, and the programmers are going back through and sorting
Okay.
everything out.
Gotcha.
And, that's bound to happen. I've actually, been working through that with them. I don't think that we're gonna see a perfect CompuTrol depository statement until the February meeting,
Okay.
okay? Because we've got a couple of checks that actually were cleared. I cleared them manually, and then, but it's not showing up in the actual CompuTrol banks. So, I'm working with CompuTrol on that. But as far as looking at my actual bank statements from the bank, we are absolutely balanced to the penny
Right, it
with
was
our
here
fund
for-
report.
yeah, okay.
Yes, so, but it would be awfully nice if that CompuTrol banks, because then you guys would be like, okay, we're really great. So right now, I think you're just gonna have to take my word for it.
Well, the
So-
numbers, the numbers match. so-
They do, the numbers do match, so,
Okay.
yeah.
I'll make a motion to accept the consent agenda.
I'll second that.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any further questions? Okay, hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Next item on the agenda is reports, and first, Assistant Superintendent, Dr. Fritsch.
Yeah, so I just wanted to give you an update on our secondary device adoption. So you have a form or a document in front of you that just kind of lays out that timeline. So our current devices that we have, the lease ends at the end of the school year. And so we are reviewing devices that we can adopt for the implementation of the 23-24 school year. So that document there lays out that time frame. So this month we are surveying teachers, and after Christmas break we'll compile that data and meet with our tech committee and review the teacher results. And really that is looking at what they prioritize and features and different ways that they utilize their device. And then we'll take that information, and then Corey will gather some good fits according to the survey results. And so we'll receive some kind of samples and models to look at, and then make a decision to have for your approval in March. So March will be a big month for devices and curriculum and adoption. But that's the time frame that we're working with.
Okay, great. Thanks. Next, the superintendent report, Mr. Goodman.
Yeah, so just a few items, this month. Obviously, this week being the end of the first semester, students working hard to finish up their assignments, obviously, take final exams before leaving for winter break from December 19th to January 4th. Students coming back on January 5th, teachers on January 4th. But I think overall it's been a good first semester at GCSE. It's certainly been a busy one. One that has posed some challenges along the way. But the students and staff have really done a good job of persevering and working through, the construction at the middle school, working through changes in drop-off and pickup procedures. And then obviously the same thing at the high school. So kind of transitioning into that. Things are really moving along at a good clip with our middle school project in the media center office and the secure entry build-out. So we're still tracking for a March or end of March, kind of aligning with spring break, potentially takeover of the renovated spaces in the middle school. And then obviously transition into the renovation of the science labs at the middle school. And then we are tracking for, after the first of the year, takeover of some of the first updated or renovated classrooms in the high school, the new history classrooms, as well as the back hallway where art, the brand new life skills classroom, and so those things are tracking for mid to late January. So that back hallway, the art hallway which is what I would call it, we'll get first, and then the history classrooms, and then the media center and common space to follow. So they're starting to put some finishes in, some flooring and some tile work, and it's really coming along, and it's looking nice. So I think we should work on maybe setting up a visit in January so the board can kind of see those spaces as they come along. And then so after that will be the exciting shift of giving up some of the second floor, about half of the second floor at the high school, and moving some of those students moving those students and teachers in some temporary spaces for roughly 8 to 10 weeks before they can move back. And then obviously we'll have the rest of the upstairs and the cafeteria. So we're still working through those things, but certainly exciting times ahead. And then Debbie Carrico and I met for the pre-bid meeting with some of the vendors for food service management, and we had 4 vendors attend the meeting. There's a lot of interest, and so they asked some good questions, and then we spent some time touring the facility. So expect to have a good bid day on December 19th when bids are due. So that's all I have for this month.
Okay, great, thank you. Next item on the agenda is old business. We have no old business. So the next thing is new business, and we have an approval request for a public hearing on a superintendent's contract. This is Mr. Gibney's contract that will take effect July 1st,
July 1, 2023.
2023. It's just a replacement contract with his first year, or his first 3-year contract will be ending in June, and we just decided to get a jump on replacing that contract. So we have to, it's been posted on it was published in the banner on the 2nd of December, and it has been posted on the board page under documents and notices on the school's website since December 1st. And law requires us to have a public hearing on that contract, so we will open up for public comments concerning the proposed contract from Mr. Gibney. Okay. So the hearing is closed, and then we will move on to an approval request for permission to pay late arriving 2022 invoices.
Yeah, so as is customary, over the next few weeks, we'll be working on closing up the 2022 financial year. And obviously, we won't have another board meeting in between, and so we would like to pay for 2022 obligations with 2022 funds. So that all you are doing is providing us permission to do that, just like in years past. And then when we come back after the first year, we'll share the report of what those payments were.
Okay.
I make a motion that we pay our bills in 2022.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Next item is an approval request to approve a donation from Gary and Linda Huber Fund for Cultural Arts and Learning to Greencastle High School Band, Choir, and Art, and to Zonicus Intermediate Choir in the amount of $7,500.
It's very nice.
Feel very, very generous,
Very
yes.
generous. I'll second that gladly.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Last item under new business is an update, I guess, on the return to in-person plan.
Yeah, so we've been in person for a long time. But this is just one of the requirements that we have to meet for the federal government. Since we received the stimulus funds, is we have to essentially offer the opportunity for comment on our return to in-person instruction plan every 6 months. And so today essentially is that day. Obviously, we're not making any changes to that. We're happy to be in person and happy with the way we're operating, but in order to meet that obligation, we had to list that as an agenda item and provide an update, so there is no action necessary from the board.
Okay, thank you. Next item, other business. Does anyone have any other business?
How's the cleaning going at TZ?
Yeah, so it's been going well. Certainly, there's a transition period and it takes time to kind of get things, get going and learn the building. But I think it's been going relatively well. Actually, I've got a walkthrough scheduled with Mr. Moses tomorrow morning. First thing is just to walk the building and look through it. But we've been in communication with him. He's been communicating with us. So that way, if there are things that need to be addressed, they are. So it's going relatively well.
How's the bus driver situation coming along?
Yeah, so it's just kind of one of those things. It's kind of just like before. Kyle and his staff are managing the best they can. It seems as soon as they get somebody new trained up, somebody has a medical need or a health need or something like that. But we're just continuing to kind of push forward the best we can and try and recruit. So if anybody needs, or everybody'd like to make supplement their income, we're always looking for bus drivers.
Thank you. Chad, you have experience.
I didn't know if we wanted to set that, next, the special meeting in January, if we want to talk about that, confirm that tonight.
Sure.
For January 4th at 4, if that would work.
And that is to,
Award a food
Award a
service
food
management
service.
contract.
okay, so our next meeting will be January 4th at 4 p.m.
If that works.
Sounds good.
Okay? Good enough. Any other business? Okay, hearing none, let's have a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Okay, a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. Well, thank you, and everyone have a great break and holiday.